In this section, I will discuss different types of artificial intelligence. For example, there is computer vision, which helps AI see and understand its surroundings, which is the type of AI mainly used in self-driving cars. But most people and businesses won't need those sophisticated AI models. In companies, they use AI mostly to achieve three things: improving the customer experience, improving productivity, so the employees of the company do more work with the same number of employees, so do more with less. Three is to do stuff that the company wasn't able to do before. And to achieve those three things, companies usually use only two kinds of artificial intelligence: the regular machine learning models and generative AI. They work very differently. Let me explain with a simple story. Imagine you run a bank and you want to know, should I give this person a loan or not? With regular machine learning, you can train a model using past data of your customers. You give the model old customers' income, credit scores, age, all the information you have on your old customers, and whether they have paid back their loans or not. So you train the model on this old data, and then when a new customer applies for a loan, you give it to the model looks at the data of this new customers and outputs a number, let's say 95%, which is the probability that this new customer will repay the loan. So the regular machine learning model is just give output of a probability, let's say 95%. Now imagine you want AI to help you in writing the rejection email to the customer and explaining the decision in plain English. That's where generative AI comes in. Generative AI, it doesn't just give you a number like 95%. It will write full sentences and can create also images and videos, can create charts, can, for example, create a chart for this new customer telling him, look, compared to the other customers, your credit score is not good, so the customer can see it visually. And this is why we have rejected your loan request. So it is just a simple example of how to use these two different kinds of artificial intelligence. So to recap and keep it simple, regular machine learning gives structured predictions from structured data, while generative AI creates content from unstructured data. And also the cost is very different. Training a regular machine learning model might cost from $5,000 to $500,000. But training a GenAI model like ChatGPT-4 can cost over $100 million. And even using each of those models costs differently. Irregular machine learning prediction costs a fraction of a cent, very low, while the GenAI output costs much more, especially for long responses, images or videos. To better understand, here are some other examples. You are a company and you want to detect fraud. The machine learning detects unusual activity, and then the GenAI writes a report for a human to review. In healthcare, the machine learning flags possible issues on an X-ray, and then the GenAI writes some instructions for the doctor or writes a suggested patient report for the doctor. In marketing, the regular machine learning can predict what a customer might want to buy, and then GenAI can create a personalized email and send automatically this email to the customer suggesting for them to buy this product. In sales, a machine learning can score all the leads you have in your company, and then the GenAI guides the sales agent on what to say or who to speak to first, or what are the priorities of this lead so that the sales agent can pitch them better. In this course, we will focus mainly on generative AI. But here is the challenge. There are thousands of GenAI models out there. So which one should we use? You have probably used ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, but each one is optimized for a different use case. So to compare models, we look at few things. First, we look at the context window. Basically, let's say ChatGPT from OpenAI o3 Pro have a 200,000 context window, which means how many input and output words, tokens it can handle. You can give it 100,000 token or 100,000 word as an input. It can only give you output 100,000. It cannot give more. Gemini 2.5 Pro have a 1 million token. So first look at the context window And the other thing to look at also is the cost per 1 million token. Like, for example, Gemini 2.5 Pro is much, much cheaper than O3 Pro from OpenAI. And there is a lot of benchmarks to compare models' strengths. Each model is strong, maybe one model in coding, another in math, another in science, one in general use, one in image generation. And there is a lot of sites that display those comparisons. For example, here you can see on the intelligence, O3 Pro is really very intelligent, followed by Gemini 2.5 Pro. Speed, Gemini 2.5 Pro is here, O3 is really slow, so it's not even in the top 10. Price, see, O3 Pro is so expensive, while Gemini 2.5 Pro compared to it is really cheap. So you can get almost same intelligence, much faster, but at a much lower cost from Gemini 2.5 Pro. And also, some models are specialized, like Open Evidence. It is trained on peer-reviewed medical papers, and it is used now by about 33% of the US doctors in diagnosis and treatment. They're helping the doctors to be more efficient, to serve more patients, to be more accurate. And same, another specialized model is Harvey. It's also used by about a third of the top US firms. It is trained on legal documents. It is helping lawyers to draft, review, and summarize legal work. So there is a lot of models. Even in the same company, there is a lot of models. So which model should we use? Each model have a different use case. It's very tiring. Soon, we will not need to choose. OpenAI plans to launch ChatGPT 5, which will include orchestration, routing, meaning you will tell it your goal on the chat, you will just speak to it, and you don't need to choose which model. It will decide which model from the OpenAI models is best to solve your use case. And it will route your question to it and give you the answer. And it is not only OpenAI who is doing this across its models. Some companies are already doing this across multiple providers. For example, Perplexity uses models from OpenAI, from Anthropic, and they use their own model at the same time, then picks the best answer and show to the user. So the future isn't one model. It is many models working together with an intelligent layer on top, routing our requests to the right model. So be an orchestrator. So now that we have seen how different types of AI work and how they are orchestrated, one question comes up. Should companies build on closed source models or open sourced ones? First, you must know that the model builders, the companies who adopt a strategy to launch their models open source, they are doing this when they are behind the competition. Often, open source is often a strategic catch-up move. So companies that are behind release open source models to compete with market leaders. Because the open source models is not as intelligent, so they make it open for free, so it boosts adoption faster. So the first thing is, it is not as intelligent as the closed source models. The second point is, it is only free up to a certain point. Open doesn't mean unlimited. Even open source models, like for example, take MetaLlama model, are free, but up to a certain threshold of monthly active users. If you hit this threshold, you need to pay for a license. So for companies, it depends on your usage. If you want to experiment and to be low cost, then maybe you can use open source. But if you want the highest level of intelligence, and if you want fast time to market, if reliability and scale are critical to you, then using a closed source model that is supported by a strong company is better for you. It's faster, cheaper, and will be more effective. For regular people, just use closed source models. ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, Claude, Perplexity, anything. Because to use open source, you will need some technical knowledge and it is not very easy.